The story tells us about a 23-year-old girl who is an office accountant. But our story begins when the poor girl was walking home from work and was hit by a truck. After this, the heroine was reincarnated in the world into a noble family named Louise. Louise's life was full of happiness and abundance. She was loved and respected by her mother. Her life was full of good and joyful moments. But when the heroine turned 13, she lost her mother, and a stepmother was brought into the house. The stepmother didn't care about Louise, and she suggested to her father not to take care of Louise. In short, Louise became unwanted and abandoned to her fate, a lonely child. Because of loneliness, the heroine had a dream. Louise's dream was to meet a worthy man and start a family. The stepmother actively pushed the girl to marry, but she only met strange candidates. But eventually, the day of mourning came, and they decided to hold a wedding in the castle with the first person they met. Louise received a letter with a marriage proposal and was perplexed by what kind of loser was proposing to her. Louise asked what was wrong with her stepmother and felt unwell. The stepmother tells her that she found a candidate for her husband herself. Louise is horrified by what she heard, because she had not planned the wedding. The stepmother claims that her betrothed is Alex Brent, Duke of the Rilth Empire. The stepmother orders Louise to start her own family and get married. At first, Louise refused, but then her father, who was unhappy with his daughter, intervened. The Duke insisted that Louise marry the same man. The girl's family had a huge debt, and so he simply gave her away in marriage. Louise agreed to the marriage in order to leave this vile house forever. She met Alex for the first time when the priest asked them about sacred vows. Louise decided to look at her fiancé's face and find out what he was like. Alex seemed to be radiating light, and he was so beautiful that Louise's heart almost stopped. Louise believed that she could turn her life around, but nothing happened between them on their wedding night, which surprised her. The husband began to feel sorry for himself and say that he was a pathetic loser and that he was very sorry. Louise realizes that all her dreams of romance are gone. Louise realized that nothing would happen and she would be a failure. Louise realizes with horror that he can't even look her in the eyes. Louise is furious. Her husband is a eunuch and he is impotent. He can't even please a woman. Louise believed that the problems were within her and did not understand what filled her dreams. Louise believes that they can work on their relationship together. Louise believes this is the beginning of a new life between her and Alex at Brent Manor. The action takes place in the Brent estate, in a library filled with various books. Louise wants to take one of the dusty books and read it. Louise notes that there are many abstruse books in the duchy. Louise runs into Count Alex as she leaves the library. Louise hits Alex's chest hard and almost loses consciousness. What appears before her is a weak and spineless Alex, who doesn't know what to say. Alex stutters and asks if she's okay, and she replies that she is. Alex asks her if he can recommend any books to her, so they find themselves in a library full of books. From that day on, the couple enjoyed tea and spent time together. Alex turned out to be a withdrawn and shy person with a kind heart. Louise believed that Alex needed to become more self-confident. Louise asks what is wrong with Alex. Is he really so unfaithful to himself? And the maid tells her the truth. Louise learns that the late Duke is to blame for everything. Everyone has heard of Axon, the tyrannical and merciless ruler of the Rilth Empire. His Grace, the Grand Duke, dedicated his entire life to protecting and fighting against the Emperor. His Majesty disliked all his life one Duke who radiated grace and dignity. Everyone knew that it was better not to have problems with the Grand Duke. The Emperor looked for flaws in the Duke's family in order to expose them. The Duke's family had been disrespected by the Emperor on more than one occasion. The Duke began to express his anger at his son, as he stuttered all the time. His little son was subjected to torture until he was cured of his stuttering. The boy had no choice but to obey his father. But His Majesty the Emperor decided to cure the boy of his stuttering in his own way and intervene in the relationship between father and son. The essence of the cruel tyrant burst out, and the Emperor began to torture Alex with sadism. Louise says she didn't know about the stories about Alex and the Emperor. She met the Emperor at court, and he turned out to be an extremely unpleasant character. The Emperor began to mock Alex, who would marry this idiot, except the fool Louise. Louise is called a thick-headed fool because she married Alex. The Emperor humiliates Louise and mocks her, considering her unworthy of Alex. The whole society laughs at Louise and her fiancé, but in the presence of the Emperor, one must not reveal one's true feelings. But Alex, unable to bear it, rebelled against the emperor's regime. The ruler of Rilta almost exploded against Alex and burst into his house with an army. The maid thinks that the current banquet was arranged by the emperor as an apology. Louise hopes that everything goes smoothly, and Alex won't have to shed blood at the banquet. The banquet begins. The guests drink wine, dance, and the emperor is clearly bored. Louise is afraid to do something wrong this time, so she drinks champagne and remains silent. Louise silently turns her gaze to Alex and sees what is happening. Alex is probably very nervous. He clearly looks unwell. But the emperor is ready to kill them for everything they do. But Alex sensed trouble in time, and another incident occurred at the banquet. The emperor says that Alex will receive an electric shock to heal him. Alex is horrified. He is already tired of the antics of the sadistic emperor. The emperor declares that Duke Brent has disgraced the family and strips Alex of his title of duke. The emperor orders the confiscation of Alex's house and the killing of all servants who stand up to defend the ducal family. So with such thoughts and such an ominous message, the duke returns to his estate. Louise and the nobles are shocked by what awaits them next. Louise doesn't know how to support her husband and is horrified that her husband has found himself in such a situation. She hears her husband apologize and say that it is his fault. Alex is very sorry that he is not able to protect his wife. Alex is very upset about what happened to him and decides to get out of the situation. Alex blames himself for what happened. He cannot hold back tears of shame and humiliation. Our heroine thinks that Alex is handsome and very smart. Louise tries to support Alex and says that everything will be fine. They end up staying in some dark hotel with everyone else. Louise is told that she can use 2 rooms, hers and the one next door. But the innkeeper is clearly unhappy with Louise and her husband, and ominous whispers are heard around. The innkeeper reminds her that the main thing is that our heroes move out, and there are no problems. One of the heroines is horrified by the conditions in which they will have to spend the night. The heroes had to ask the heroine's uncle for help, but even he refused them. The heroine's friend is horrified by the conditions and does not want to sleep in such a disgusting place. All the blame now lies with Alex, who can only ask for forgiveness. Eloy, Alex's relative, orders him to fix everything. Louise doesn't know how to support Eloy and the other heroes. Louise tells Alex that she will make the bed and asks Alex to wait a little. Louise supports Alex, saying that everything will be fine. Louise sweetly asks Alex not to give up and says that she will spend the night here. Alex suddenly hugs Louise tightly. Alex asks Louise to wait for him in the next life. Alex also promises our heroine that she will receive more love in the next life. He promises our heroine that he will become the best husband for her. Alex promises that in the next life, he will be able to protect his beloved. The next day, Louise found Alex dead with a vial of rat poison. Louise is shocked that Alex could do this and leave her alone. Louise doesn't know what to do and is horrified that she is now a widow. Alex lies dead and he does not move. His face is deathly pale. But when Alex is found dead, something unusual happens. Alex's eyes slowly open. But is it really Alex? Alex was going somewhere, towards the ominous whisper that accompanied him. We are shown a creepy monster that clearly escaped from a Diablo game. The monster tells Alex that he is the deity of this world, and he has no chance to resist him. Our hero bravely tells him that your time has come, monster, and takes out a sword from his bosom. Our hero bravely rushed into battle, the bright glow of the church emanating from his sword. The monster was defeated by the young man in a matter of seconds. The monster does not understand how this happened, and the hero managed to crush him. Our hero manages to turn the monster into a pile of splinters and shining light. The young man was covered in blood and was tired after the battle with the monster. He sighed joyfully. Finally, his fight with the deity was over. But instead of a sense of duty fulfilled, the young man is faced with disappointment. In their world, gates opened and terrifying monsters appeared, eating people. People appeared who were like in the novel about the omniscient reader, awakened, special people chosen by the system. When they awakened, they had a number of supernatural abilities and fought monsters. But now the confrontation is over, and Alex has nothing more to do. The battle was truly long and exhausting. Our hero was seriously wounded. He decides to take a good rest and continue the battle. But it seems to the young man that the end of his adventures has not yet come. A system with a new message appears in front of our hero. The system informs that the hero is about to receive his final reward and face a final battle. Our hero is excited for the fight and happily reads the system to find out what awaits him. He cheerfully announces that he wouldn't mind taking a break from the numerous battles and presses the system. Next, the system reports that the last reward has been received and the hero is enveloped in white light. The young man's consciousness is plunged into darkness. He no longer sees anything and wants to know what is happening. The young man dives into the water and the water envelops him. The waves caress his skin. But then our hero hears that he is being asked to help. The young man slowly comes to his senses in Alex's body on a bed in the tavern. His head is buzzing, and the nameless young man is trying to comprehend what is happening around him. At this time, Louise is shaking Alex and is worried that something has happened to him. The young man looks up at her in surprise and tries to adapt to the new reality. He sees Louise, who is overjoyed that Alex is okay. The young man is embarrassed and thanks Louise for looking after him. Louise is horrified. She calls him my dear and asks how he feels. The young man is stunned by what is happening around him. He is shocked that his latest award is a wife, and not a vacation at a resort with coconuts and a beach. Alex's sister, Eloy, and his mother burst into the room, horrified by their son's actions. The young man doesn't know how to answer their questions about his health. The doctor advises giving Alex rest, as he took rat poison. Our hero decides to scout out the situation and meet the guests. It dawns on him that his final reward is being placed in Alex's body with Louise. It dawns on him that the beauty in front of him is his wife, Louise. The girl decides to support her husband and asks him to tell her what happened. Louise believes that her husband hates her and tried in every possible way to get rid of her. She begins by saying that the loss of property and status has thrown Alex off balance. She decides to figure out why our hero committed such a terrible act as suicide. Louise appeals to her husband's feelings. She decides to tell him what she really felt. The young man listens attentively and decides to take on Alex's guise after learning of his tragedy. He recalls that he tried to change the system, but it didn't work. The young man decides to adopt a new identity and live a new life. The prospects are very tempting. Also, in the mirror, the young man notes that he looks like Alex. The same eyes, the same hairstyle, and even the same hair. Until now, the system had not issued rewards that the young man could apply to himself. He decides that everything that happens is somehow connected to him. Our young man is now becoming a cold-blooded loner. From his dark thoughts, the new Alex is distracted by his wife Louise. He is very surprised by her approach to him and cannot get used to the idea that he is married. Louise is worried that Alex's face is very pale, like death. Louise tells her husband that she doesn't hate him and that she loves him. She's just upset. She says that she is completely critical of the person she loves. It dawns on the young man that she is stuck in Alex's body for a long time. Louise warns her husband that if something like this happens again, she will scold him very loudly. They decide to kiss, but our hero can't just kiss her. So he simply spits out the water he swallowed right on Louise's face. Louise stands there as if scalded by the water that her husband splashed on her. The young man quickly apologizes to Louise, but he clearly feels unwell. Louise clearly understands that everything will not be as okay as she thought. Louise thinks that her husband has a serious case since he is in such a condition. Louise is shocked by what happened to her husband today. Louise still can't believe that Alex is alive after the rat poison. Louise notes that something seems to have changed in Alex. But here's what exactly. Usually, her husband is a shy man who keeps himself isolated from the whole world. But today, for example, his shirt revealed his chest, and it looked seductive. Louise decides to take care of her beloved's health and feed him something tasty. Alex ended up eating quite a lion's share of the food, which was uncharacteristic for him. Louise is upset. They will obviously be kicked out of this place, and they have nowhere to go. Alex tells Louise that everything will be fine and asks what is making her sad. Louise tells him that they will not be left here just like that, and the Emperor will come for them. The young man begins to think about the problem that the main character posed to him. Our heroine notes that she has never seen Alex so serious and focused. Alex decides to sort out the situation and slaps the table. Alex suddenly says menacingly that he knows how to resolve the situation. Louise is surprised by what happened to her quiet and timid husband. Louise thinks that Alex has never been so determined and brave. Alex stated that taking care of his family is his main responsibility. Louise thinks that the poison affected Alex, and now he has become different. Louise timidly decides to clarify what her husband is going to do now. Alex calmly decides to earn money to buy a house. Louise is upset and sits locked in her room. Her head is full of thoughts about how Alex could have changed so much during this time. After his words, Alex took off and ran off somewhere, leaving Louise alone. Alex also decided to ask Louise something before leaving. His question was what the Emperor's name was, and there was such determination in Alex's eyes that it was hard to refuse. Louise thinks that Alex started all this, and he is unlikely to get anything. Then Alex comes back and says it's all because of the rat poison he drank. His relatives are shocked that Alex appears to be healthy. Alex lies to them that he was sick and the rat poison worked as a cure. His relatives can't believe Alex's sudden recovery. Our hero turns out to be a time traveler, and he read a novel about Alex and the Emperor. Alex managed to find a place to live, because the man in it decided that since he remembered the novel, Alex's life would be his, and no one would mock him. The new hero managed to rely on his knowledge of the novel and sell what he had, which surprised Louise. The heroes had almost arrived at the site of the new house, which amazed Louise. The house has become even more luxurious than it was. It is now a whole estate. Louise is surprised how Alex managed to buy such a luxurious house. Louise believes that her dream of a beautiful home and marriage has begun to come true. Alex claims he was lucky because the house was rumored to be haunted. Louise and Eloy are shocked to learn that the owner of the house ran away because he simply saw a ghost. Alex happily informs them that the owner of the house put his house up for sale after he allegedly had a ghost appear to him. Alex says the owner is afraid of ghosts, so he sold him the house at a low price. The heroes are terrified by what Alex decided to do. Even the driver runs away from this place as fast as he can. The women didn't even think that Alex could act in such a way. Alex invites the heroes to enter the house. For him, everything is trifles. Eloy yells at her brother. She will never go into a house where ghosts live. Louise doesn't know what to do with her. To her, Eloy is a spoiled brat. Louise thinks that Eloy is going too far, and that she's annoying everyone. Louise understands that Eloy is upset that her engagement to her beloved has gone down the drain. Louise thinks Alex feels terrible because of his sister, but Alex calmly offers to enter the house without Eloy if she doesn't like it. Alex's mother and Louise are shocked by the decision of the young man, who always humiliated himself in front of his sister. Alex's mother thinks Eloy is spoiled, but not to that extent. Alex calmly informs them that Eloy will still return to this house. After this, Alex turns sharply and goes inside the house. Alex's mother notes that she is surprised by the changes in her son, but if she had known earlier, she would have fed him poison. Alex's mother decides to follow the dream, and Louise is horrified by her words. Alex's mother completely agrees with her son, who has changed so much. Even Eloy's pride will be broken. She will have nowhere to go. Louise thinks they are both right, as Eloy is incredibly annoying. They decide to enter the estate, which is full of secrets and mysteries. Louise thinks that the mansion was built a long time ago, and it is too big. There is also a spider web in the mansion, and a very cute spider is hanging from it. Louise is afraid that this mansion might actually be haunted. Louise turns timidly to her husband, uneasy about the atmosphere here. Louise asks him about the rumors about ghosts. She sincerely believes that the rumors are just rumors. Louise is very afraid of ghosts, and she asks Alex to leave the house. Alex calmly takes her hand and assures her that there is nothing in the house that would arouse suspicion. Alex's mother, on the contrary, is glad that the house is probably haunted. She wants to make friends among the ghosts, as she is about to die. Louise and Alex are amazed by this woman's courage. The house is nevertheless light and clean. There is not a single speck of dust here. Louise is surprised. She has never seen such magnificent decoration before. Louise believes that she could never live in such a clean house. Louise is amazed at how clean this house is. Louise decides that she will stay in this house forever. Alex distracts Louise and tells her that he's glad she likes it here. Alex smiles and tells Louise that he's glad she likes it here. Louise happily tells him that she is glad that everything is fine. Alex is embarrassed that Louise is happy that she liked the house. Alex and Louise are happy that they were able to buy a nice house. Suddenly, Louise and Alex turn around at the sound of the door opening. The spoiled Eloy looms in the doorway, having finally decided to enter the house. Louise is surprised that Eloy came so early and crossed the threshold of the house. Eloy looks at the house in surprise and asks what's wrong with it. Eloy is delighted that the house is so big and amazing and goes running around it. Alex offers them to choose a room to suit any taste. Louise decides to suggest something interesting for dinner. Alex tells the ladies that he needs to wash up and decides to leave. Alex believes that he cannot ignore people who decide to help him. Alex goes into the bathroom and slowly undresses in the building. He believes that sooner or later he will be exposed, so he needs to come up with something. He slowly undresses, revealing to the readers a space for the ladies' imagination. Clothes slowly fall to the floor, and the bathtub noisily fills. Alex turns the tap, and the water stops flowing into the filled bathtub. Alex decides to look in the mirror, hanging on the wall next to him. He notes that he and Alex are clearly like two peas in a pod. Our time traveler is furious about what this Alex was doing. With these thoughts, he plunges into the hot water to calm down. He came to the conclusion that the action takes place in the novel The Distorted Sun. He decides to use the knowledge of the original novel. Our hero still thinks about missions, even though the system point is unavailable to him. He closes his eyes and plunges into the bath with bliss. He hears Louise's gentle voice calling him. Steam is coming from the bathtub, and Alex's things are lying nearby. Louise notes that the previous owner ran away and even left food behind. But now it is also their food, and she picks up tasty potatoes. Louise walks into the kitchen, which is lined with pans of food. Louise believes that she will find a lot of useful things here in the kitchen. Louise notes that she can only boil potatoes now. Louise makes delicious deep-fried potatoes. Eloy, who is already quite annoying, immediately comes running to the smell. Louise happily announces that dinner is ready and asks to call everyone to eat. Eloy looks at the food in surprise. She expected something different. Eloy is being naughty again. She wanted to eat soup or steak for dinner. But Louise doesn't listen to her and brings food to the table. She doesn't listen to the capricious Eloy. In the kingdom, Eloy could make do with strawberry tarts, soufflés, and steaks, whatever the cook brought. Louise believes that there is no room for whims here. Let them eat what she cooked. She reminds Eloy that they are not in the county and do not have the food she ate. Eloy angrily declares that she will not eat dry potatoes. Louise believes that she will not run after Eloy, and that she will get more. Louise thinks it's high time for this cheeky girl to grow up. Louise puts the food on the table with a bang and calls everyone to dinner. Louise believes that it is not the time to quarrel in the new house. Alex's mother sadistically skewers cooked potatoes. Alex's mother wants the ghosts of the house to get into the Emperor's room. She also wants the ghosts to scare the Emperor to the point of making his knees tremble. Louise suggests that they all eat together and not think about the bad. Alex's mother believes that they can't survive on potatoes alone and suggests they find a way to earn money. Alex calmly informs them that tomorrow he will slaughter a ram. The women are surprised that quiet Alex really wants to slaughter a ram. Alex's mother is glad to see that her son has become so confident. She mentions that Alex felt sorry for the lamb since childhood. Alex was surprised at how gentle he was. Louise and Alex's mother whisper about the changes in Alex and decide to feed rat poison to the Emperor. Alex's mother believes that the nobles cannot simply watch them suffer. Louise believes that until recently they were nobles too, but they all could not say a word to the Emperor of the lands. It would be better if he changed. Louise says that we must be careful so that they are not destroyed by the Emperor. Alex's mother believes that they should resist the Emperor. Louise decides that no Emperor will stay with them for long. Louise would very much like to start a revolution and have a hero appear who would overthrow the Emperor. Alex's mother is ready to train to overthrow the Emperor. Louise politely asks Alex if he has eaten. Louise says the food is delicious thanks to Alex. Alex looks confused by this. He coughs violently to suppress his growing embarrassment. Louise wonders if she's stupid enough to keep Alex around. Alex's mother decides to ask the youth an awkward question. She asks her son to answer her honestly and strangely fidgets with the napkin. She asks Alex if he signed any slave contracts for the house. Louise also expects that something terrible has happened. Alex silently sips water from his glass. Louise imagines Alex naked, performing intimate services. These thoughts make Louise feel very sick. But in fact, our hero sold the information for which he was paid. Mother and Louise are puzzled by what information Alex sold. Alex believes that they won't bother him too much. Alex tells them that he sold information about the missing Crown Prince Ridit. Crown Prince Ridit is the prince who was the leading candidate for the throne. But 4 years ago, it was Axon Cayley, not the prince, who took power. The The mother assumes that Redit was killed by Axon, who ruthlessly exterminates competitors and rules in the name of the heir. Louise also believes that the tyrant would hardly have spared the prince's life. Alex confidently says that the crown prince was hidden from the emperor's eyes. Alex's mother is shocked by the news that Prince Redit is alive. Alex tells them that Prince Redit is organizing a rebellion with people loyal to him. Louise believes that the uprising will happen sooner or later. The women start pestering Alex about how he knows this. Alex tells them that he came across a clue about the prince's location. Alex tells them that he found a clue, and now it is useful to them. Alex's mother realizes that the hint came in handy. Alex wonders who could have left the clue one way or another. Alex's mother reassures her son that fate is fickle, and the one who left them a clue is a hero. Louise and Alex's mother are very keen for Prince Redit to ascend to the throne. Alex's mother thinks that a celebration can be arranged. Louise is happy. She had been hoping for a wedding celebration for a long time. She wants to do a spring cleaning and have some fun afterwards. Suddenly, the most infuriating character in the manhwa, Eloy, timidly knocks on the door. Louise gives her a chair and warns her that next time they won't leave anything for her. After this, night falls, and Louise walks through the estate with a lit candle. Louise turns off the light on the first candle she comes across in the house. Louise believes that nothing serious will happen in the mansion, but she believes in ghosts. Louise decides to turn off all the lights and go to bed. Louise notices Alex in a robe leaning against the wall. Louise politely asks why Alex is still awake. Alex looks at her for a long time and tells the girl that it's late and it's time to go to bed. Louise politely says that she is hungry and offers Alex something to eat. Louise suggests that Alex take a rest, and he thinks that he doesn't mind. Louise thanks Alex for talking to them at dinner and telling them everything. Alex thinks that she worried in vain and asks Louise not to do this. Louise apologizes for the fact that the entire burden of their marriage falls on Alex. Louise wants to support Alex and tells him that everything is fine. Louise promises that she will help Alex in any way she can. Alex gently takes her hand in his, allowing her to touch his chest. Louise says that if Alex has any problems, she will be happy to help him. Alex is shocked that they will be living in the same room. Alex looks at Louise in surprise. It's a shock to him, content. Louise knows his reaction, but now she can no longer back down. Louise doesn't want to leave Alex alone. She's afraid of that story with the poison. Louise reassures Alex. She says that she does not need to fulfill her marital duty. It dawns on the time traveler that Louise still considers him her husband. Louise is a very beautiful and kind woman. We are shown her beauty and big eyes. She presses herself timidly against him, and Alex feels strength filling him. But still, he feels uneasy about having a wife. Louise doesn't understand why Alex is so tense. Alex holds Louise tightly to him, and we are shown his strong and muscular back. It dawns on Alex that Louise is hoping for gentle touches, but Alex abruptly pushes Louise away from him with an apology. Alex tells her that he is going to bed and leaves. Louise thinks that Alex is rejecting her again. We remember that he is impotent. Louise is horrified. She thinks that she is so disgusting to Alex. But in reality, Alex is overcome with vulgar thoughts, and he is as red as a lobster. Our hero feels ashamed that he ended up in the body of a married man. He realizes with horror that he was too close to Louise. Her touch makes Alex feel good. He notes that Louise has soft and gentle hands, and that she has a pleasant aroma. Alex catches himself thinking about Louise with horror. Alex closes the door to the room and tries to calm his wildly pounding heart. Alex tries to calm down and collect his thoughts. He remembers Louise's reaction and wonders what her relationship with her husband was like. Alex suddenly realizes a sad reality. He is horrified that her husband is a eunuch and impotent. He tries to understand with horror what to do. He was horrified that such a reward awaited him for saving the world. In his past life, our hero didn't have time to have a good time. He thinks he needs to think carefully. An unexpected idea comes to his mind, which becomes his salvation. But then Alex gives his body a checkup and notes that everything is fine with his body. In his past life, he had many temptations, and not the most pleasant people approached him. But Louise is a different matter, as our Alex notes. Louise breathes a sigh of relief at this point. Louise notes that Alex has changed lately. Louise decides to put out the candles before it all starts. Louise walks down the hallway and thinks about Alex, why he is acting strangely. Louise pushes away extraneous thoughts with horror. Louise wonders what's wrong with Alex. She knows that Alex has taken on a lot, especially their marriage. Louise thinks that he doesn't want to see her anymore. Louise slowly puts out the candles throughout the house with sad thoughts. Louise and Alex entered into marriage without thinking about the consequences, but Louise is wondering if she should love Alex. Alex seems quiet and kind to her, but she shouldn't love him. Louise thinks it's too late to think about her marriage with Alex. She extinguishes the last candle she encountered on her way. But the candle seems to have been extinguished by itself, or someone extinguished it. Louise is shocked. Where is this mysterious wind blowing from? Her heart is pounding wildly, and in her head there are only thoughts of ghosts. Louise is horrified by what she heard. Louise turns her head from side to side, frightened by the ghost stories. Louise decides to put out the other candles as quickly as possible. In the morning, scrambled eggs, steak, soup with potatoes, and fried lamb await us on the table. Eloy is shocked by Louise's efforts. She didn't even know that she was capable of preparing everything. Louise tells Eloy that Alex helped her a lot. Louise happily tells Eloy how it all happened. Louise woke up and came into the kitchen all sleepy. Louise smells something pleasant. It turns out that Alex slaughtered a lamb and prepared a delicious meat shank. Alex asks Louise if everything is okay as she looks at the food. Louise asks Alex in surprise if it is true that he killed the sheep. Louise is shocked by what Alex did, but his cooking delights her. Louise decides to show off her skills. Alex suddenly asks how he can help his wife. Louise wants to refuse his help, but meets his gaze. She says, blushing, that this is too much and she will prepare everything herself. But Alex insists on his help, and the girl blushes with embarrassment. Louise asks him to cut the meat into small pieces. As a result, Alex begins to cut the meat and make a delicious knuckle. Eloy can't contain herself after Louise's story. Everyone decides to sit down at the table and try the shared food. Alex's mother notes that many years have passed since the table was set. Louise thinks they were able to throw a real feast. Louise is shocked to find that the food is incredibly delicious. Louise asks her husband how he likes the food, and he says it is delicious. Alex smiles softly at her and tells her that the food is incredibly delicious. Louise thanks Alex for preparing the food. Louise notes that she doesn't even know what her man loves. Louise and Alex are talking to each other, discussing cooking. Eloy happily eats Alex and Louise's food. Alex's mother reminds him that he needs to think about how they will live their lives from now on. Alex's mother wants to look for a chef and leave the affairs to Louise. Louise is not very pleased to hear this from Alex's mother. Louise tells her that she will definitely find a job. Alex's mother reminds her that Louise must agree, but she does not. Alex's mother wants to hire someone else to be the chef. Louise notes that the former chef is unlikely to agree to work with them. Louise notes that her husband is also good. He sits and keeps quiet. Louise devours the food with hatred. Because Alex will never contradict his mother, Alex suddenly addresses his mother in a serious tone. Louise believes that he decided to support his mother, as usual. Alex wipes his lips with a napkin and blurts out that Louise shouldn't be responsible for the cooking. Alex and Eloy's mother choked on their food and stared at him in amazement. Alex's mother is as amazed as Eloy that Louise doesn't have to cook. Eloy shouts and asks Alex if he really thinks someone else should cook. Alex notes that only Louise cooked food for him. Eloy blurts out in a rage that she or her mother, who lives with the servants, should really be cooking. Alex sternly tells them that everything in the world can be learned and insists on their cooking. There is a pause between all the family members, and they continue their meal in silence. Louise is surprised that Alex stood up for her for the first time. Usually, Alex always apologized to Louise for his mother's behavior. Eloy starts making a scene that she won't cook. While Louise watches this scene, Alex's mother suggests listening to Louise's opinion. Louise is puzzled as to why Alex's mother attacked her. Alex's mother sternly asks if she would like someone to help her with the cooking. Louise starts to act out that she can't handle it all alone and that she's very sorry. But then Louise suggests finding a chef and refuses to cook for the family. Alex and Eloy's mother are shocked and he yells at Louise in anger. Louise reminds them that she has other responsibilities and she can't handle everything. Louise reminds them that she also has to clean and do a lot of other things. Alex and Eloy's mother is shocked that Louise is no longer submissive to them. Alex suggests dividing the responsibilities so they don't fight. Alex offers to take on most of the work. Alex's mother gets up from the table in a rage. Everything is shaking around her. Alex's mother reminds him that he has lost his title and now his pride as well. Alex's mother doesn't want to see her son doing hard work. But Alex sternly tells her not to dramatize and to support him. Alex's mother rises from the table in a rage. Alex's mother leaves the newlyweds and walks away angry. Louise tells Alex that he shouldn't have done that. Now his mother is angry with him. Louise says she partly understands his mother, who was once a well-groomed noblewoman who was friends with the emperor. However, Louise is glad that Alex took her side and stood up for her. Eloy asks for more meat, and Louise promises to see if there is any left. But Louise lies to Eloy when she notices the fragrant meat in the gravy. Eloy decides that she will go to her mother, since there is nothing left. Eloy is displeased and walks past Louise, clearly annoyed. Louise is pleased with herself and puts the delicious meat on her plate. Louise gives her plate to Alex as a token of gratitude for his intercession. Alex can't help but smell the pleasant aroma. Alex looks at Louise, and they come nose to nose with each other. He sees a system message that Louise's affection has been unlocked, and he has received meat from his beloved. Louise pours him some delicious meat and gravy into a plate. Louise places the plate in front of Alex, and the aroma spreads throughout the room. Louise asks Alex in surprise what happened. Alex seemed to freeze and did not react to her hand movements. Alex guiltily tells her that he was just lost in thought. The system window, which he hasn't seen for a long time, looms before Alex. Alex notes that the system window has changed color. Alex reads a message that if he ignores Louise, the quest reward will be cancelled. Alex decides that the system can't do everything and decides to ignore it. But Alexa is warned that the system alert cannot be ignored. Alex is surprised at how stupid the system is that it forces him to date. Alex believes he is back to square one. Alex is offered to improve his relationship with his wife, but he does not want to use her. Alex is surprised that he failed the hidden quest, and his stats were lowered. Alex believes that he still has the skills to defeat the Dark Lord. It turned out that the hitman's skills were blocked, and he would no longer be able to receive anything. Alex is upset that he can't do anything anymore. Alex is surprised that the soul of Duke Brent is wandering somewhere in another world and read his business card. He is interested in where heroes go after they die. Alex doesn't want to have affairs, but to return to his own world. The hero is surprised when he reads the dossier on the Duke of Brent and his wife, and is surprised that she is still a virgin. He still feels the magical energy within him, the mana that fills his body. He realized that Alex had not used his mana and was therefore very weak. He also notices a warning from the system. The young man learns that the owner of his body was a weak recluse, afraid that the mana would break out of control. At this time, Louise decided to eat what she had left. Louise herself is surprised at how the food tastes better. Louise believes that it was because of her mother-in-law that she was unable to properly taste the food. She decides to clean up the table since everyone has left. Louise starts cleaning at the speed of sound. Louise realizes that clearing the table is boring work. Louise notes that it would be nice to have servants, but the emperor has forbidden it. Louise looks out of the window and looks at the beautiful weather outside. Louise sees the sheep and realizes that she can't eat them every day, so she needs to come up with another solution. Louise decides to buy ready-made food at the market, and this makes her a genius. Louise goes to the pastures outside the estate. Louise decides to sell something she doesn't need. Louise decides to sell some of her jewelry, but she will succeed. Louise begins to put things in a separate handkerchief. Louise decides that it is time to go and is about to head towards the exit. Suddenly, Louise notices something in front of her. Louise falls and the handkerchief falls out of her hands. Louise falls to the floor while the scarf with the things hovers above the floor. Things fall into place on their own, and Louise lies unconscious. Our hero is still learning to control his power, which Alex has been holding back for years. Alex now understands why the previous owner of the body did not want to use mana. But he realizes that Alex couldn't suppress this power forever. The former owner of the house didn't know what to do. There were ghosts in this house. He told Alex that he tried to carry things out, but kept fainting. The man screamed that if this continued forever, he would die. Alex decided to remain silent so that the merchant would believe that he agreed with him. Alex wants to use mana to find out if there is a ghost here. He decides to use force to get to the heart of the house. Alex is getting more and more painful. A bright light surrounds him. Alex finally gets to his heart. Alex is glad that he managed to reach the source of mana. This mana, gathered into a ring, is called a magic circle. Alex knows that the more circles around the heart, the more mana he can use. Alex manages to unlock all passive skills. Alex decides to go in search of a ghost in a magical house. For example, Alex was at a house where oak and strong gates lead. In the library, he finds the source of magic in the form of a blue ghostly ball. Alex decides to follow the blue ball in search of the ghost. Alex decides that he will find the ghost, no matter what the cost. Alex remembers the merchant's words and decides to take something from here. Alex goes into the guest room where Louise is lying. Louise lies unconscious on the floor. It seems as if she is dead. Alex looks at her in horror. Could his wife really have died? He gently tugs at Louise and asks what happened to her. Louise lies unconscious, and he pulls her nose. Then, Alex picks up Louise and carries her into the house. Louise lies unconscious in his arms, and Alex doesn't know what to do with her. He wonders how a person can be so light. He lays the girl down next to Eloy and thinks that there really is a ghost here. He gently touches Louise's cheek and walks away, leaving her with the sleeping family members. He leaves the room, closing the door behind him. Alex sees the ghost approaching and follows him. He sees a puff of smoke, which he decides not to inhale so as not to lose consciousness. Alex, with the help of Mana, managed to reach the house of the scarlet and frail figure and strike. Alex sees that he has completed the quest to unlock the necromancer abilities he was in the past. Alex couldn't even imagine that he would be able to unlock this ability. With the help of magic, a mysterious alien appears before him. The alien slowly turns into a small snow puppy. Picel is clearly unhappy and shouts at Alex in a rough male voice. Alex menacingly asks him if it is his doing that everyone is losing consciousness. The dog reluctantly answers that anyone who inhaled the smoke will not return as mere mortals. Alex becomes curious if there is some story behind the ghost. Alex sees on the system that the ghost Gideon is drawing into his service. The dog growls that he is guarding this house, and that until the owner returns, they should get out of here. Alex thinks that the dog is wasting his time, and that nothing will come of it. Alex orders the dog to tell his sad story. The dog growls and says that he is simply waiting for his owner. He woke up in a dark and gloomy place, and remembered only the owner, who had ordered him to guard this house. The dog screams that he will not allow anything to be taken from here. A powerful stream of smoke envelops Alex, and does not allow him to see anything. Alex struggles to push through the magical smoke, but Alex manages to clear the smoke with the help of activated skills. The dog asks angrily why Alex is still okay, since he inhaled smoke. Alex rudely and imperiously informs the puppy that he is lost, and the mansion is now his. The puppy doesn't want to recognize Alex as his owner, but he doesn't want to listen either. The puppy begins to growl angrily, his eyes turning into two balls of fire. The puppy's paws increase in size, and giant claws appear. The puppy turns into a giant wolf and attacks Alex. His eyes flash, and his voice becomes much rougher as he orders Alex to get out of the house. The dog rises into the air and pounces on Alex. Alex realizes that he will have to fight the dog. Gideon growls and lunges at Alex, intending to eat him. Alex deftly dodges Gideon's clutches, and then Alex incapacitates Gideon with one blow, hitting him in the jaw. Alex conjures a magic circle of blue rays to contain the monster. Alex doesn't want to miss out on his profession, and decides to make Gideon his familiar. Gideon growls at Alex. He can't believe his owner could abandon him. Alex decides to hurry, as time is limited. He decides to limit the dog's movements when it swings. Alex ties the dog with his blue rings, and it whines pitifully. The dog lies there, all tied up at the paws, and Alex is triumphant. The dog doesn't want to listen to Alex. His grief for his owner is great. Alex decides to cure the dog with his magic. The dog growls that he has only one owner, but Alex heals his wounded paws with the help of magic. Alex tells the dog that he moved into this house to become its new owner. The dog growls he doesn't really want to be his owner. Alex claims that he is the new owner of the house. He shocks the dog by calling him by the name Gideon. Alex reads the system message that he has 10 seconds to make the dog his familiar before it attacks. Alex accepts the dog as his new familiar. Gideon whines slowly and disappears into thin air. Alex is nevertheless surprised why none of the servants wake up. The dog explains to him that they have inhaled smoke and are now sleeping. Alex decides that they need to continue watching. Alex enters the room where a sleeping Louise and his family are waiting for him. Louise looks seductive in her sleep, her clothes open and her blouse revealing her body. Alex feels awkward about being here. He covers the sleeping Louise so that she falls asleep. He goes out into the hall where there is no one and the moon is shining. Louise does not come to her senses and lies and sleeps. Louise has strange dreams. She dreams about Alex. Louise slowly comes to her senses and wonders how she ended up here. Louise thinks she needs to sleep a little more. Eloy wakes her up rudely, throwing open the doors to the room. Louise feels like she slept for a very long time. Eloy reminds her that it is already time for dinner. Louise is shocked that she slept all evening. Louise asks how long she slept, and Eloy orders her to come down for dinner. Louise remembers picking up a candlestick and a vase. Louise looks tired and thinks she dreamed it all. Alex's mother asks her discontentedly if she got enough sleep. She loudly announces to Louise that Alex was messing around in the kitchen because of her. Louise is surprised that Alex cooked dinner himself. Louise follows the delicious smell into the dining room. Louise doesn't understand what Eloy is doing here, messing around with the dishes. Suddenly, Louise makes eye contact with Alex, who is carrying food. Seeing him, Louise's sleep vanished, as if by magic, and she looked at Alex. Alex brings spaghetti with shrimp and asks her how she is doing. Alex tells Louise that he was very worried that she slept for so long. Louise apologizes and says that it's okay. Alex feels that she is hungry and invites her to the table. On the table are spaghetti with shrimp, salad, steak, and shrimp with buns. Louise is shocked that Alex prepared all this. Eloy proudly tells her that she prepared everything, and Alex only helped. Louise is surprised that Alex cooks so well. Louise thanks Alex for the treat and says that she will definitely eat everything. Alex is confused by Louise's antics, but agrees with her. Louise also praises Eloy for what she has managed to create. Eloy begins to bargain for Louise to cook her tasty treats. They decide to start eating, Alex starting first. Louise is incredibly grateful to Alex and decides to eat. The women are shocked. They didn't know Alex could cook so well. Louise notes that Alex definitely has a talent for food. Louise thanks Alex from the bottom of her heart for the delicious food. I wish I could have that. Alex is glad that Louise likes his food. So they sit and enjoy such exquisite dishes. Suddenly, Alex stops eating and notices something. Through the food, a system appears in front of him, and Alex sees that the affection has increased. Alex is surprised that affection has increased because of dinner. He didn't even expect that affection would increase from what he did. Alex didn't even think that his skills as a chef from his past life would come in handy. He believes that he needs to cook more to increase Louise's affection. Alex spends the evening thinking about what other food he can cook. It's tea time and everyone decides to drink tea. Louise happily decides to try Alex's tea. Louise doesn't understand why the items are in their places. Weren't they trying to sell them? Louise is scared because she is in a house surrounded by ghosts. Eloy is afraid to talk about ghosts, but Alex's mother doesn't mind. Alex is frightened by rumors of ghosts, but he appears impassive. Alex tries to reassure those present that all rumors about ghosts are unfounded. Alex remains silent when Louise asks him about the objects. Alex tells them directly that the ghosts of the estate mistook them for the owners. Louise feels that they will solve problems as they arise. So the action moves to a cozy guest room with a bunch of cabinets. Alex thinks he's had a long day today. Alex calls Gideon, who is glad to see him. Alex decides to approach the strange dog. Alex asks the dog to stay out of sight of other household members. Alex is glad that he has a servant and will take care of him. Alex decides to warn the dog to meet only him. Alex remembers Louise and her talk about the revolution. Alex learns from the system that he needs to level up. Alex doesn't understand why he has to go through the process of saving the world twice. Alex is tired, and his head is occupied with thoughts about the coming day. Alex decides to look at his characteristics in the system. Alex is confused as to why he only needs to increase affection. Louise is delighted with the fields of lambs and the weather outside. Alex's mother doesn't understand whether sheep have always been so clumsy. In front of us is a cute little lamb with thick fur and a muzzle. Louise offers to shear the sheep with her. Alex's mother rudely tells her that she will not do menial work. Louise claims that this task will help her relax. Alex's mother doesn't listen to Louise's persuasions and demands that she work herself. Louise realized that it was useless to argue with her and left. Louise is in a warehouse where she is looking for sheep shears. Louise sighs heavily, but she continues searching without giving up. Louise finds a sheep shearing knife, which is quite difficult. Louise decides to do something useful and resolutely goes to the sheep. Louise decides to get to work and rolls up her sleeves, putting on gloves. A lamb appears in front of her, moving more heavily than the others, and it seems calm. Louise, with sadistic pleasure, tells the lamb that he has nothing to fear. Her hand, holding a knife glistening in the sun, descends into the soft wool of the lamb. Louise cut the lamb's wool with ease, and she is glad that she succeeded. Louise begins to shear the lamb, despite his protests. A few minutes later, Louise finished shearing the lamb. Louise is pleased that she managed to shear the lamb and collect a lot of wool. Louise drags wool to the cart, and it is hard for her, because there is a lot of wool. Alex asks Louise in surprise where she is going. Louise invites Alex to go with her and sell the sheep's wool. Alex is surprised that Louise sheared the lamb herself. In the end, Alex decides to go with Louise and help her with the trade. Alex shoulders a sack of wool and goes to the market. Louise is shy. Alex easily lifted the bag with one hand, and he will soon be alone with her. Eloy rudely shouts after them that they are going to the market. Louise is upset because she doesn't want to go with Eloy and spend time with Alex. Eloy begins to irritably ask to be taken along. Louise doesn't know how to tell her gently to leave her alone. Louise lies to Eloy that there are different streets, and it is dangerous. But Eloy is adamant. Eloy still wants to go to the market, no matter what Louise says. Louise and Alex walk to the market, ignoring Eloy. Eloy still wants to go with them, despite Louise's stories. Louise notes with frustration that she is unable to drive Eloy away. We are shown the market where our heroes come. Eloy is surprised by the upcoming situation, which gets on Louise's nerves. Eloy notes that the market is different from the market where she lived. Louise tells her that she warned Eloy, but she didn't listen to her. Louise turns and listens to the sounds of the market. Alex the mime walks by with a sack of wool, and he looks very majestic. Louise notes that Eloy is acting so quietly that it is unusual for her. So they find themselves in a market full of life and go straight to the stall. People at the market look very exhausted and tired. Louise notes that life is becoming increasingly difficult because of the tyrant emperor. Alex points his finger somewhere in front of him and points to the bench. Alex asks loudly as he enters the shop if there is anyone here. The man who sold Alex the house appears in front of them. Alex calmly asks him if he buys sheep's wool. The seller calmly replies that yes, and wants to look at the product. When assessing the wool, the seller offers 10 coins. Louise offers to deliver wool to the seller every day. The seller tells her that if she wants more money, she should sell something else. Louise becomes more serious and asks what exactly. But the seller's eyes widened as he looked at Louise. Louise is very surprised. She understands that the seller is interested in her hair. Louise realizes that the seller wants her luxurious golden hair. But Alex abruptly blocks Louise's view and responds critically to the seller. Alex coldly informs the seller that they came to sell wool, but not hair. Many ladies of the court envied the beauty of Louise's hair. Louise is very pleased to hear compliments about how beautiful she is. One of the maids of honor asks permission to cut a lock of Louise's hair. Louise is disgusted by the idea of hair being used as decoration. Louise thinks that she can be allowed to cut her hair if she gets 5 gold coins. But Alexa directly forbids the seller to touch Louise's hair. Eloy says you can earn 300 gold pieces by selling the hair. Eloy thinks that Louise's hair grows quickly, and this won't be a problem. The stingy seller claims that more hair is needed to get the money. But Alex's sharp voice prohibiting the sale of Louise's hair brought Eloy to her senses. Alex rudely asks what Eloy is going to sell, and she becomes uneasy from Alex's aura. Alex loudly declares that Eloy has no right to dispose of what is not hers. Eloy hides behind Louise and looks at Alex with fear. Louise decides to calm Alex down. She tries to convince him that his hair will grow back and that money doesn't come easy. Alex is surprised to notice that the hair is Louise's, not Eloy's. Louise gently tells Alex that she wants to help him with his income. Alex states that hair is something else, and they were going to sell the wool. Alex claims that he doesn't want to sell Louise's hair because he's already having a hard time. Alex thinks it's terrible to sell his wife's hair to make ends meet. Louise is surprised. She didn't know it was that important to Alex. Looking at the romantic atmosphere between them, the seller is perplexed by what they have done in his shop. Alex walks down the street and looks ahead to where Louise is going. Alex is surprised at how Louise's affection has increased. Alex speculates as to why the attachment has increased. Alex becomes curious about what attachment does. Alex doesn't feel any better at all after reading about his wife in the system. He decides to go back home and continue doing the rest of his things. Alex tells Louise and Eloy that it's time for them to go home. Alex asks Louise something, and she is ready to answer. Alex is furious that Louise decided to sell her hair to get money. Alex asks them to go without him, as he will stop by the information desk. Louise becomes curious about where the information office is. Alex replies that Rudin, Louise, and Eloy are getting tense. Louise asks worriedly if everything will be okay, and Alex becomes curious about what is going on. Louise is worried that Alex will be bullied. Louise invites Alex to go with him so that nothing happens. Eloy says in panic that she is dressed in old clothes and will be laughed at by the nobles. Louise understands that Eloy has faced the prejudices of the nobles. Rudin is the most luxurious city in the Rilth Empire, full of various artisans and craftsmen. The nobility of Rudin often displayed extravagant temptations and hairstyles. Louise realizes that they are still wearing the same clothes. Louise asks Alex to meet her with Eloy later. Louise and Eloy walk away, while Alex watches them with a lingering gaze. Louise walks past Alex, her hair shining like gold. Alex understands that he must have a sense of responsibility for his employees. Alex orders Gideon to escort the girls home. Louise sits at home and drinks tea, unaware of what is happening. Louise thinks that something happened to Alex on the road, and he didn't return home. She decides to go out and see what happened to Alex. The words Alex said are still spinning in the girl's head. Louise was touched that Alex was concerned about her. Louise believes that Alex will return safe and sound. Louise steps out into the bitter cold and turns in the night. Louise hears the sound of a carriage driving towards the house. The carriage stops abruptly at the gates of her mansion. Alex rides in a carriage, dressed in rich clothes, with a confident expression on his face. Alex, wearing his dress uniform, jumps to the ground and approaches the girl. Louise is surprised by what is happening and asks what happened. Alex looks at Louise in surprise, and she looks at him. Alex asks Louise in surprise what's going on. Louise tells him that she went out to get some fresh air. Alex is surprised. He thought that Louise was already asleep, but she wasn't. Louise is surprised at where Alex got the carriage from. Alex explains that it wasn't hard for him to buy the carriage. Louise thinks that Alex went to Rudin on this matter. Alex asks if she wants to go to the carriage. Louise is puzzled why Alex is so tense. Louise decides to go into the carriage under Alex's guidance. Louise goes into the carriage, and she is surprised by the sight that opens up to her. The carriage is completely filled with a chest and bright jewels. Louise is amazed that there are too many jewels here. Pearl necklaces, money, and precious stones shine among the jewels. Louise wonders why the jewels are alone here. Louise never saw jewels that weren't there. Alex vows he won't have to worry about making money. Alex suggests that she use as many jewels as she can. In the end, they all became rich and dressed luxuriously and bought new furniture. Alex's mother believes that they have already created a civilized home. Alex and Eloy's mother exchange glances and think that they are doing a great job. The house soon turns into a villa and becomes bright. Louise is shocked by what the house has become. Eloy and her mother-in-law bought out all the boutique's goods with Alex's jewelry. Every day, bright outfits began to be delivered to the mansion. Alex also invited a chef and opened his own restaurant. Louise is glad that she won't have to cook. Louise goes out the door and looks at what is happening around her. Louise sees Alex, dressed in rich clothes, walking towards her. Louise happily calls Alex by name, and she is happy to see him. Alex is surprised to see her again and on a walk. Louise tells him that she ordered food from the restaurant. Louise invites Alex to go with her and eat. Alex shyly tells her that he agrees and thanks her. Alex feels sick at the thought of what if she finds out that he is not her husband. Alex felt responsible for taking care of them. Louise is happy that she has acquired so many jewels. Louise notices that Alex is very unhappy, but he brushes it off. Alex doesn't understand why Louise's affection isn't increasing. Alex noted that other indicators had been raised. Alex is pleased that his reputation has increased to 157 points. Alex reads the dossier on the Duchess of Brent in surprise. Alex thinks he won't tell Louise anything. Alex wears a blue robe that reveals his muscular build and biceps, much like Conan the Barbarian. Alex believes he needs to increase his second-level attachment. Alex is now concerned with leveling up, period. Alex's head starts to hurt more and more. Alex fell asleep, but he is in some kind of Malevich black square. A bright light illuminates him, and he covers his red eyes with his hands. Alex sees a baby in front of him, squatting and crying. Alex moves closer and closer to the baby, closing the distance between them. The baby who is crying is himself as a child, or rather, young Alex. Our hero experiences some kind of painful sensation in his chest. Our hero experiences other people's emotions and feels uneasy. The hero realizes that the crying baby is Alex. Our hero finds himself in Alex's past, where the action takes place in his father's office. In front of Alex stands the Duke of Brent, his eyes wild and his whip brandished. Alex froze, silently waiting for the bloody whip to fall on him. The bloody whip cuts through Alex's flesh until it bleeds, exposing his back through his torn shirt. Alex silently endures the blows, which become harder and harder. They shout at Alex that it would have been better if he had never been born. Brent is disappointed in the young man who stutters all the time. Alex was not welcome anywhere, which made him feel more and more depressed. Alex is left alone in pitch darkness when his father leaves. We are shown a beautifully decorated place, Brent's residence. Alex silently looks out the window, and his thoughts become darker and darker. Alex decides to knock on his parents' room, gathering his strength. But he hears an angry father who is furious at what a worthless son he has. His parents were always yelling at each other and insulting each other. The reason they were arguing was because of him, because of Alex. Alex is horrified that he has to listen to all this. Then it's time for dinner, and Alex is left alone with his father. Alex decides that his father wants to apologize and wonders why he called him. Alex's father scolds his son for having terrible table manners. The conversation between them doesn't go well, and they quarrel all the time. Brent tells his son that poison was added to one of the plates. He says that he is ashamed of his son, a stutterer, and he ordered that the food be poisoned and that he be gambled to the death in roulette. Alex suddenly becomes more and more sick because the poison was slipped into him. Alex is bleeding and hurting all over, but he's trying to hold on. Alex falls to the floor, rolling in death throes. Blood gushed out in a stream, and Alex felt worse and worse. Brent believes that Alex will be born more bearable in his next life. Our hero wakes up and feels sick from what he saw. Our hero suddenly grabs his back, where the whip had gone in his sleep. Our hero undresses in front of the mirror and exposes his back. Alex's entire muscular back is covered in terrible scars. The hero realizes that he is dreaming about Alex's past and that he is getting worse and worse. The hero realizes that Alex was subjected to physical violence. The hero puts on clothes, stopping to look at his back. Our hero allows Louise to enter his room. Louise happily chirps about something and enters his chambers. Louise notes that Alex woke up earlier than usual today. Louise notes that everything is so unusual since Alex woke up. Alex doesn't understand what's wrong with him. His look has become more different. Alex becomes curious about what Louise is doing here. Louise chirps to him about how they need to head to a larger area. Louise invites the guy to go with them if he wants. Louise is glad that Alex is going with them and making plans. Louise leaves Alex in anticipation of the journey. Alex watches her go and leaves with happy thoughts. We are shown a shopping center that is full of surprises, but it is very cold in Grand Cali, and Louise shudders timidly in the cold wind. Eloy notes that there is a rather gloomy atmosphere here. Louise recalls that she even has to sell wildflowers. Louise wants to solve the problems and find out what is happening in the Empire. Louise recalls that a long time has passed since Alex sold the information about Prince Redit. Louise sees that Eloy has already picked out some hats from the New World. Eloy suggests going into the boutique and buying some new clothes. Alex decides to accompany the girls on their shopping trip. With these thoughts, they slowly approach the boutique. But they don't see that 3 fat men, hooligans, are standing in their way. The hooligans see Louise, Eloy, and Alex entering the boutique. The hooligans are very surprised to see Alex walking. The hooligans are jealous that Alex has captured such a beauty, his wife. The hooligans decide to cause Alex a lot of problems and gifts in quotation marks. One of the hooligans approaches him and addresses Alex. Red wondered where Alex had been all this time. Louise is puzzled by what these idiots want. In front of them are Earl Garrison Osborne, Marquis Damian Wells, and Marquis Marcel Howard. These 3 are sensitive to what is happening in secular society. Louise knows that the wives of all these people are spreading gigantic rumors. Louise asks her retinue to ignore them, but the rude men are more persistent. Marcel Howard comes closer to Louise and asks where she is going in such a hurry. Louise knows that Howard and his gang have been bullying the heroes. Louise angrily replies that someone has a lot of free time. Louise decides that she can do something about it. But Alex seems to be afraid of no one and bravely goes towards his enemies. New characters are unlocked during personal meetings. So it is written about Marcel that he owns a textile factory. Marseille is part of a textile community that has a monopoly on the distribution of its products. Alex thinks that he will succeed and get her to talk too. Hooligans make fun of him because he is nobody without his wife. Marcel suggests to Louise that he can arrange for the girl to work for him as a servant. Louise is horrified by what he is proposing, and she is not in the mood to throw herself into his arms. Eloy growls at him to get out of the boutique. Louise hears that Eloy is completely furious. Eloy, unlike Alex, always had special manners and a sense of style. Even though these three and the Eloy met for the first time, they felt each other. Garrison notes that Eloy has always been unhappy with her brother, and now she is standing in their way. Eloy notes that it's one thing for Alex to be bullied, and another for him to be bullied. Louise notes to herself that Eloy is in a lousy mood today. Usually, Eloy is an annoying character, but today there are worse personalities. But Louise can't just stand aside. Louise had long ago decided that she would not allow anyone to bully her. She knows that aristocrats only do what is unpleasant to them. For example, one of them was always asking Louise if she wanted to have children with Alex. Louise learned that the Duke was shy, and that was why he had chosen a bride from other lands. The woman tells them that she can make Louise pregnant by the impotent Duke. Louise sweetly informs her that she doesn't need it. The Trinity's wives are annoyed by Louise's carelessness. Louise believes that she has no right to say such things about Alex. Louise believes that they will soon learn about Alex's death. Louise doesn't want to let anything slide. Louise playfully asks how Marcel's wife is doing. Marcel asks, surprised, "What does it matter to her?" Louise reminds him that what he most wanted to know was about his wife's lover. Louise proudly informs Marcy that his wife has a lover. Louise decides to tell Marcel everything she knows. Marcel proudly tells her that the girl will not succeed in setting him against his wife. Louise asks him to ask Count Garrison if he doesn't believe her. Marcel looks at Garrison in surprise, not understanding what his name has to do with it. Louise informs him that he can ask his henchman about it. Marcel's friend tries to persuade Marcel not to listen to Louise. Louise doesn't listen to his friends calling her crazy. Louise loudly announces that they should not interfere with her husband. Louise loudly orders them to get away from her husband and from her. Marcel attacks her. He is ready to raise his hand against the woman. Eloy screams in horror, afraid of blood and the sight of murder. But Alex gets ahead of Marcel and hits him with all his might. Marcel flies away from him a few centimeters. Marcel falls into the street with a bruise on his face. Louise is shocked that Alex hit Marcel with such force. Louise is surprised at how angry Alex is. Alex thinks Marcel is a piece of meat since he decided to beat his wife. Alex is surprised to discover that he has unlocked a new skill that helps him in fights. Alex is surprised to discover that his wife's affection gives him special skills for surviving in the world. Alex notes that his skills are much stronger than they turned out to be. Marcel's friends start yelling at him because he raised his hand against the wrong person. Alex asks Louise if she is okay. Eloy anticipates a fight and asks Louise to stay by his side. Eloy asks Louise to move away from Alex. Alex sternly orders Marcel and his gang to get out if they want to live. Marcel is horrified. He didn't expect this from the quiet Alex. Marcel's friends are discussing his failure to hit Alex. Marcel suddenly noticed that the Duke of Brent suddenly spoke without stuttering. His friends and Marcel himself are shocked by the new Alex. Marcel doesn't understand how this is possible with our Brent. Alex doesn't know how to knock out Marcel and his guys to win. Marcel's friends don't understand their friend, who is furious that Alex doesn't stutter. Alex sternly reminds Marcel what will happen if he doesn't leave. Alex steps on Marcel's hand, breaking his fragile bones. Marcel's friend attacks him, ready to kill him, but Alex grabs him by the scruff of the neck and is ready to kill him. Marcel's friend is hanging in Alex's arms, and Alex's hands are clenched around Alex's friend's throat. Alex sternly tells Damien that if he doesn't want to leave, he'll knock him out. Damien was thrown sharply onto the pavement and was clearly in pain. Damien yells at Alex that he's crazy and he simply won't get away with this. Another friend of Marcel's approaches him and gets into a fight. He hints to Alex that he can make him disappear without a trace. Alex suddenly feels a golden light engulf him. Marcel's friend insists that they separate peacefully, but Damien feels like he's hit a rock. He warns our hero that he will be in trouble. When he asked if they were ready to disperse peacefully, there was deathly silence. Alex easily dodges his friend Marcel's attacks, not wanting to lose. Alex is not afraid that he will be hurt by the blows. Alex suggests that he hit him harder than he did. Damien swings at Alex with all his might. But his strong hand is stopped by an equally strong hand and knocks as if on a stone. Alex deftly crushes his former tormentor in the solar plexus. He feels like his leg is broken, and it starts to hurt. Marcel and his friends are shocked by how menacing Alex has become. They decide to force Alex to kneel like before. Marcel tenses up and walks towards Alex. Eloy and Louise are scared. Marcel wants to use dirty methods. Eloy grabs a rock to hit Marcel. She decides to swing the rock and is triumphant when it hits. The rock hits its target, and Marcel is crushed, the rock flying straight into his face. A squabble begins between Eloy and Marcel. Alex watches their squabble calmly. He's about to intervene. The scoundrel he hit slowly takes out a rusty knife from his bosom. Alex watches the altercation and doesn't notice the danger behind him. Damien approaches him from behind with a knife in his hand. Louise is terrified that the end will soon come for her beloved Alex. Louise sees that Alex sees nothing and is unaware of the danger. Louise realizes that she must save Alex. Louise decides to save Alex and runs up to him faster. Damien approaches Alex faster and faster. Louise lunges at Marcel's henchman with all her might and knocks him down. Alex is shocked that Louise got involved in the fight. Marcel's friend looks at Louise in anger and demands that she let him go. He pulls Louise's hair with all his might, and she is ready to fight. Alex was struck by a sudden shock. He was clearly obsessed with Louise's hair. Louise was in great pain from having her hair pulled. Alex grabs his enemy's throat with a death grip. It looks like he's about to strangle Marcel's friend for touching Louise. Louise screams and asks Alex to let the villain go. Alex is surprised to see that he hurt Louise. Louise cries from pain and her own helplessness. Damien is thrown contemptuously at Marcel, and both fall. Marcel sternly informs Alex that he is lucky this time. Alex makes fun of Marcel the same way he made fun of his stuttering. Alex sternly orders them to get lost. Then, Alex becomes softer and turns his gaze to Louise. Alex looks like a noble knight and invites her to leave. Alex takes her fragile little hand in his calloused palm. They leave Marcel and his gang together. The heroes walk through the city, enjoying the view and everything else. Louise notes that this is the first time she has seen Alex like this. Alex apologizes to Louise in an apologetic tone. Alex feels guilty that Louise suffered because of him. Louise reminds him that he was trying to protect her, and there is nothing wrong with that. Louise, on the other hand, thinks Alex is really cool. Eloy supports Louise and thinks Alex looked incredibly cool. Eloy apologizes for missing the boutique. Louise suggests that they go to another boutique that is nearby. Eloy immediately perks up and wants to look at the goods. The trio heads to the boutique and becomes curious about what's inside. In his past life, Alex was glad that he learned to ride a horse. Alex has learned a lot of skills in horse riding. He no longer needs a driver. Other people reading the book learned skills in shooting, horse riding, etc. Alex feels he needs to come clean to his family about who he is. Alex decided to reveal the truth, but it was hard for him. He believes that Louise, having learned that he is not a real husband, will throw him out. He is sure that she will be upset to learn about Alex's death. Meanwhile, Louise and Eloy are riding in a carriage, and they are scared. Louise is dreaming about something, looking out the carriage window. Louise turns to Eloy and asks her about something. Eloy is surprised by the question of whether Alex fought well. Louise thinks Alex has never been that good at fighting. Eloy tells her in surprise that even the sounds of gunfire scared Alex. Eloy found her brother's behavior strange, as he had never been like this before. Louise asks Eloy to keep the story about the fight a secret from his mother. Eloy noted that there is no more pleasant sight than the beaten textile boys. Louise agrees with her and wants Alex to repeat it again. Louise asks Alex worriedly if everything is okay. Alex reminds her that Louise was bullied. Alex recalls how he managed to get into a fighting mood. Louise notes that Alex has become more aggressive and brave. Alex tells her that the girl will be curious to know what happened. Alex tells Louise that he wants to talk about what happened. Alex tells Louise that he himself has changed. Louise realizes that Alex blames himself for what happened. Louise asks Alex why he has changed so much. Louise tells Alex that he has suffered for many years. She says that the power should have come to Alex now. Louise is genuinely concerned about Alex and his changes. Alex becomes more and more gloomy from her words. Alex confirms that he has changed, and Louise tries to understand why. Alex tells her that something is bothering him. Louise thinks that Alex is now Spider-Man, who has received incredible powers. Louise is worried that Alex's power has side effects. Louise says the main thing is that everything is okay with him. Alex tells her that he has already gotten used to the changes. Louise asks him what is the reason for his changes. Alex gives her his word that if he finds out anything, he will definitely tell her. Louise says goodbye to Alex and wishes him good night. Our hero was never able to tell that the real Alex was dead. He so wants to tell his wife the truth about everything. The heroine cannot distinguish Alex from the imposter, since they are identical. Our hero is perplexed as to why he possessed Alex. He reads a message from the system that he needs to increase his affection and points. Alex swears at the system. It infuriates him, just like in the other isekai novels. Meanwhile, a carriage is driving in the night in an unknown direction. Marcel and his friends don't talk about anything, but they reflect on today. Marcel is furious. He was humiliated for the first time, and by Alex too. Marcel begins to suspect that it wasn't Alex. His friends give him a long, dark look. Damien believes that they need to fight back against Alex before he gets stronger. He also notices that even Louise and Eloy laughed at them. Marcel is angry that he didn't fight back, and that next time he will be stronger. He remembers what Louise said about his wife's lover. Marcel can't believe that his wife has a lover. Damien suggests reporting everything to the Emperor. His friend argues with him because this is too much. Marcel believes that the Emperor will consider all this a joke and will do nothing. Marcel decides to use his business connections to disgrace Alex. At this time, Louise is sleeping in her crib and seeing wonderful dreams. Louise's thoughts are all occupied with Alex's behavior, that he no longer stutters. Even Alex's attitude towards her became somehow cold. Louise believes that all Alex has left is his looks. Louise notes that this is probably Alex's way of becoming stronger. Morning comes, and we are shown the villa where the heroes live. It's picnic time. We have a lot of sandwiches and apples with loaves. Alex's mother notes that Alex is a good cook. Even Eloy notices that everything is very tasty while eating a sandwich. Louise asks her to eat more slowly, otherwise she will choke. Louise asks Alex if he likes the food. Alex answers yes, smiling that the food turned out very tasty. Louise notices that Alex didn't like beef sandwiches before. She knows her mother-in-law loves fried salmon, while Eloy prefers a lot of ham as a filling. So Louise prepared herself just in case. She takes a beef sandwich in her mouth and is surprised that Alex doesn't eat a chicken sandwich anymore, that he has changed so much. Louise cheerfully asks Alex what he will eat. Louise stuffs a chicken sandwich into her mouth and thinks that we can now try many new things together. Alex thinks that he can't do anything. His body seems somehow sluggish and weak, but it is Alex's body. Compared to his previous body, he can only use half his strength. Alex believes that he can only use half of his skills. He needs to unlock the rest. It commands the system to begin the base stamina quest. Alex is shown a series of activities that will make him a strong warrior. Alex decides to train and become stronger and stronger. Meanwhile, Louise sneaks into her room between the long corridors. Louise suddenly hears sounds coming from Alex's room and decides to take a look. Louise decides that no one will disturb her and she can sleep in her room. Louise just wants to be alone with Alex and have a drink. Louise timidly knocks on his room, which is locked with 5 locks. Louise timidly asks if Alex is inside and what he is doing. Louise thinks that if Alex is not sleeping, he can be woken up. She notices that no one is responding to her and decides to leave. But the door suddenly opens behind her. Louise immediately recognizes Alex's surprised voice. Louise falls onto the floor with a tray of sandwiches and drinks. But Alex deftly grabs her and holds her, pressing her to himself. Louise is surprised that Alex is not in bed. Alex timidly asks Louise if she is okay. Louise notes that Alex looks a little different. Louise sweetly asks Alex what he was doing. Alex tells her that he has been practicing a little. Louise is surprised at what Alex was doing. Alex asks Louise in surprise what brought her here at this hour, and what the tray of food and drink is for. Louise replies that she wanted to invite Alex to spend time with her. Alex says he honestly thought she was already asleep. Louise says she wanted to be alone with Alex. Alex silently closes the door behind him and walks up to her. Louise wonders why her heart is beating faster and faster. Louise asks what Alex has been up to, and he tells her about his grueling workouts. Louise invites him to have a drink and continue training. Alex silently looks at the glass of wine offered to her. Louise feels like she's missing her only chance to talk to Alex. Louise invites Alex to go horseback riding together. Louise tells Alex that she has no idea what couples do. She offers Alex another glass. Alex and Louise clink glasses and drink aromatic red wine. Alex tells Louise that he wouldn't mind going for a horse ride. Louise is glad that he doesn't mind horse riding. Alex slowly sips some wine from his glass. Louise also drinks a glass of wine in one gulp and is glad that she succeeded. Louise asks Alex not to overexert himself with his training. Alex boasts to her that he managed to repeat 100 repetitions. Louise thinks it's too much for one time. Alex tells her that it's not as stressful as she thinks. Louise tells him that he has changed a lot since they met. Alex shares with her his plans for building muscle. Where else would he go? He already has only muscles. Louise thinks that Alex's body and muscles are in harmony with each other. Louise tells him that his glass is empty and wants to pour him more wine. Alex asks Louise not to drink so much, otherwise she will get drunk. As a result, Louise gets completely drunk and looks very seductive. Alex tries to stop Louise, saying that she has had too much to drink. Louise is drunk and tells Alex that everything will be okay. Louise harmlessly suggests that they sleep together tonight. Alex pours out all the wine, sickened by the thought of such a thing with Louise. But Louise, drunk, invites Alex to sleep together and doesn't let up. Then, it slowly dawns on Louise what she is offering him. Alex politely offers to walk Louise to her room. Louise sheepishly says that she has nothing against it. She slowly stumbles, and Alex has to lead her by the arm. She notes to herself that Alex has very strong and gentle hands. For her, Alex is now completely healthy and ready. Louise uses every excuse to get Alex to walk her to her room and touch him. Alex wishes her good night and walks her to her room. He is as red as a poppy at the very thought of spending the night with Louise. But Alex politely declined this offer. He's just being stupid. Alex thinks it's normal for spouses to sleep together, but he thinks the real Alex will come back, and it will be awkward. In the morning, Alex waits for Louise at the stairs in the hall for a horse ride. Alex looks stunning in a green uniform embroidered with golden swirls on his clothes. Alex believes that he needs to pay attention to his wife, otherwise they will no longer be together. Luckily, horse riding is just what a married couple needs. Alex understands that if he doesn't go for a walk with her, then there can be no talk of raising her sympathy. He believes that this date will improve his relationship with Louise. Alex never thought about it before, but now all he does is increase affection. He remembers his skills on the system and believes that he needs to level up. Suddenly, Louise's voice brings him out of his gloomy thoughts. Louise looks beautiful in a green skirt and leather jacket with a green ribbon in her hair. Louise asks him to forgive her for being so expectant, and she is ready for a horse ride. Alex looks at Louise in surprise and can't say anything. Louise asks Alex in surprise if everything is okay. Alex comes to his senses and sheepishly tells her that they will go together. So they pass a cute wooden house, similar to some kind of barn. Alex gives her his hand and helps Louise onto the horse. Louise is glad that Alex helped her, and she believes that their relationship will strengthen. Louise looks at Alex, turning towards him and hearing the sound of the wind. Alex slowly saddles the raven horse, placing his foot in the stirrup. Alex looks like a real fairy tale prince on a black horse. Louise is amazed. Alex moves with precision on his horse, as if it were nothing to him. Louise didn't even know that Alex could be so observant. Alex asks Louise if she is ready to go horse riding now. Louise can't even believe that they went on a horse ride. Alex believes that he must touch Louise with this date. The reward for the quest will be high, so Alex is very nervous. Alex has never been on a real date and doesn't know how to touch her. He has always defeated monsters and doesn't know how he will cope. He thinks he should think of Louise as some kind of boss monster. Alex knows that every monster has a weak spot. He understands that if he finds her weak spot, he will defeat her. He decides to go through the marriage section and get affection points. Alex believes that Louise dreamed of different things that she didn't do. Alex deftly jumps off his horse onto the ground when they arrive. He gallantly offers Louise his hand and dismounts from his horse. Alex speaks to Louise in a soft tone, and she is surprised at how his voice sounds. Alex decides to ask her what he should do for her as his husband. Louise is shocked. She has longed to hear these words. Louise doesn't even know what to say to his question. Louise asks Alex not to blame himself for not fulfilling his marital duties. She tells him that going on dates with him now is her greatest gratitude. Alex believes that his feelings constantly return to this girl. Louise says she understands what it's like to be healthy. Louise tells him that it would be better to have a date and not without him. Alex doesn't know how long he can endure pretending to be her husband. Louise is shocked by this answer and turns her gaze to him. The young man decides that he needs to speak to her on behalf of her husband. Alex believes that he would like to get to know his wife's world better. Louise doesn't understand what her husband is talking about and is surprised by his answer. She tells him sharply that they have had enough and it is time to go back. Louise cheerfully addresses Alex, saying that today they will do whatever she wants. So they find themselves in the village and park the horses. We are shown the city in full force. Louise and Alex are looking around the house with pleasure. Louise offers Alex some cotton candy. They are met by a merchant who asks what they want. He gives them pink and blue cotton wool. Louise hands the cotton wool to Alex, and they begin to eat. Alex eats cotton wool, but he is overcome by dark thoughts. Louise cheerfully asks him if it wouldn't be great to eat cotton wool. Louise invites Alex to eat some of her cotton wool. She hands him a piece of pink cotton wool, crisp and pleasant. Louise asks Alex if he likes it, and he eats it with gusto. Alex tells her that he has prepared everything for her. Alex smiles and tells her with a sweet smile that even cotton candy is sweet. Alex and Louise enjoy the views of the city and walk. Louise enjoys eating local delicacies. She and Alex are riding a boat and enjoying the sunset. Later, Louise enjoys the evening view and the boats sailing by. Louise looks at the sea and enjoys the view. Louise notes that every time she hears that Alex will do everything possible for her, her heart breaks. Louise notes that Alex doesn't know about her feelings at all. Alex asks Louise to come home because it's getting cold. Louise is glad that Alex is walking her home. Alex's face is gloomy, shadows cast across his face. He doesn't understand why the affection hasn't grown during the day. Alex believes that there are no attachments, and this worries him. Alex thinks about what he needs to do to level up. Alex agrees to what he will have to do on the next quest. If you think about it, Louise mounts the horse with difficulty. He turns to Louise and promises to get her hooked. Alex abruptly mounts his horse and saddles the spirited steed. Alex extends his hand to Louise and invites her to sit down. Louise is surprised that they will be riding on the same horse the entire journey. Louise is embarrassed to hug Alex from behind the whole way. Alex put Louise on the horse and didn't let her go. Alex thinks Louise has lost a lot of weight and encourages her to eat well. Louise is surprised that he helped her jump on the horse. Louise pushes away the various thoughts that overwhelm her. Alex is surprised. Did he do something wrong? Alex thinks that at some point Louise became emotional. Louise and Alex are driving through the forest, and they notice that they are being followed. Alex suspects that the reason they can't get there is because of mercenaries. Alex wouldn't want to get Louise into trouble. Alex mentally calls on Gideon to come to his aid. Gideon appears and announces that he will be happy to help him. Alex orders all people who are chasing him to be put to sleep. Gideon instantly bristles, and there is no trace left of the cute puppy. Alex follows through the forest as Gideon charges in. Alex notes with horror that a system appears in front of him. Alex sees a quest to gain experience. Alex orders Gideon to stop. Alex decides to borrow his dog's vision to scout out the area. He recognizes the mercenaries from the Grave Guild, who are known as a notorious guild of bad guys and will do any dirty work for money. Their skills are quite significant, and nobles turn to them to avoid getting their hands dirty. Alex believes that this is the work of those three. Gideon keeps a close eye on those who came after them. Alex breaks his unruly steed abruptly. Louise asks Alex in surprise what happened. Alex warns her that he heard something strange. He believes that the mercenaries are very well trained militarily. Louise tells Alex that she didn't hear anything like that. Alex warns her of the danger and asks her to get off her horse. Alex notes that he still has 30 points left to score before he can increase his score. He sees armed men who look like wild woodcutters. Alex learns the name of the guild leader, Carson, who looks like Carlson. Carson, a bearded and scarred man, has a firearm. Time rolls back, and we see Carson, bored and busy. Someone is knocking timidly on the door, painted with beautiful patterns. So some guy comes through the door with a task that they just received. Carson learns that it's from a regular customer of theirs about another guy who went on strike. But there is something on paper that shocks the mercenary leader. On orders from their regular client, he needs to find Alex and beat him half to death. The mercenary rubs his hands with satisfaction. This is the very task he has been waiting for so long. He already anticipates Alex and his wife begging for mercy. The very thought makes a man feel completely uneasy. Cresson decides to take aim and takes aim at our heroes. Alex is horrified. He didn't know that the enemy had a firearm. Alex uses his speed boost ability and jumps off his horse. He jerks Louise into his arms and carries her away from the fighting. The bullets whistle and look. they'll hit Alex's cute horse. Alex realizes that just a little bit more, and the bullets would have hit Louise. Alex decides to take care of Louise and puts her down. Louise asks him worriedly what's going on. Alex tells her that they have been persecuted for a very long time. Alex asks Louise to keep quiet and points somewhere into the distance. He points to the mercenaries, who are surprised that they missed. Louise is horrified. They really want to kill them before their time. Alex asks Gideon to stay downstairs and guard Louise. Alex gently asks Louise to stay in hiding and promises her that he will return soon. He quickly accelerates, leaving the girl in a safe place. Louise opens her eyes to the strong wind. Louise remains in the field with the mountain slopes in the background and a pale moon in the sky. Louise calls out to Alex tenderly, but is met with deathly silence. Louise starts calling Alex's name much louder. Louise decides to go into the dark grove of the forest to search for her beloved. Louise is surprised at how quickly her betrothed disappeared. Louise looks in horror at the vastness opening up before her. She sees mercenaries lying around and asks what is going on here. Louise understands that something bad has happened here. Louise turns around at the sound of Alex's voice calling her. Alex calmly tells her that it's time for them to go home. Louise's eyes fill with tears. Carson and his men are defeated, lying in unnatural positions. Carson groans loudly in pain, his face swollen with pain. Carson asks what happened and gets up from the ground. Carson notes that his entire body is torn apart by wild pain. Carson looks back, but his targets are already gone. Carson can't understand who was so cruel as to hurt him. He saw only a man who was a well-built and trained warrior. He tries to remember how badly he was beaten during the fight. Carson is surprised at how quickly everything happened and where his goals went. Together with his people, he tries to come to his senses and inspects the scene of the incident. Carson is confused about what the hell just happened. Carson orders his men to stand still and not go anywhere. But one of his thugs lies unconscious on the trail. Another is dealt an unexpected blow to the solar plexus. Carson can only stand and watch what happens. Carson clutches his rifle and wants to know where he's being followed from. A sharp blow from a fist to his unshaven face brings Carson out of his thoughts. Carson and his men are beaten back and forth without mercy. Carson takes a powerful punch to the jaw from below. Someone's voice tells him that they are done for today. Carson feels that the guy who attacked him is not one of their ordinary people. He is surprised that they said that Alex is a wimp and doesn't know how to fight. Carson gruffly orders his men to get up. Meanwhile, Louise and Alex return to the estate, and Louise is scared. Alex promises her that he will return her horse and send his people to search for the horse. Alex orders Louise to return to the house. Louise looks upset about what happened. Louise thinks that all this is the work of Marcel, who decided to take revenge on them. Louise remembers the rumors from the ladies of the court that Marcel and his team were not coping with their work. Louise recalls that many textile workers were later found dead. She remembers how one of the nobles suggested getting rid of the servants with the help of mercenaries. Our Louise is concerned that Marcel was running a dishonest business. Louise believes that Marcel and Julia have reliable support in high society. Louise is puzzled as to how Alex managed to neutralize them all. She plays their conversation today in her head. She feels she took Alex's apology too lightly. Alex, meanwhile, storms the system with a new message. Alex is happy that he reached level 600 and gained a second level of affection. Alex decides not only not to endanger Louise, but also to deal with the main antagonist. Alex orders Gideon to keep an eye on the mercenaries. Marcel is furious. He demands answers from his subordinates. Carson blames Marcel for not telling him that Alex can fight. Marcel is furious at how dare Carson bother him and notices the mercenaries' bruises. Carson wants to break the trusting relationship with Marcel after everything he went through. Carson shouts that the purpose of contracts must always be disclosed and demands compensation. Marcel grins evilly and says that compensation is to completely destroy Alex.